Thank you for watching this video. Before we get started, I'd just like to shout out my channel on the side, Cable Classics. This is me and a group of some of my best friends watching movies late at night, and then I edit them together into short little highlight reels of the funniest and most entertaining parts, or some insight. So check it out. We've done Deep Blue Sea, Roadhouse, Fear, The Howling, Excalibur, and Sylvester Stallone's Over the Top, and there's plenty more to come. I'd really like this channel to reach a certain sub count and start to get a continued fan base, so if you can support it in any way, I'd really appreciate it, and please check out its Reddit page. Thank you. Hello, Rewinders! Welcome to Box Office Addict, where we break down the weekend box office and the top movies to see what studio won and what studio has been defeated and thrown to the pits of hell. Okay, so I guess it's no surprise here. Once again, the Conjuring franchise dominates the box office. We got The Nun 2 at number 1. It isn't number 2, it's The Nun 1. 34 million domestic, 55 million internationally for 90 million on a $32 million opening weekend. So if we go look at the original Nun, which came out in 2018, shout out to my friend Cordry FX, for his Nun video from several years ago, breaking down how this was the state of modern horror being absolutely terrible. So please go check out that video on his channel, Cords, C-O-R-D-Z. So the original Nun had a huge opening weekend of 53 million and then dropped considerably from that opening, but it still ended up with 117 million domestic, 365 million worldwide, which did make it the highest grossing film of the Conjuring franchise. It actually outgrossed the Conjuring movies themselves, which is nuts. This is a huge win for Warner Brothers. Whenever they fail with their major IP films, they always come back with these IPs that they don't put hundreds of millions of dollars into. And kudos to James Wan and company for giving them that. The Equalizer 3 had a 65% drop. It's at 108 million. That's a pretty big drop, but I guess it was expected. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, what the fuck? Why do they keep making these? These must do well on home video. It's pretty crazy. The original Big Fat Greek Wedding, at one point, I don't know if it still is, was the highest grossing independent film ever made. The film was $5 million budget, and then if you look at its original run, the movie just stayed in theaters forever. Like, it came out in May, and it stayed in theaters, if we keep scrolling, I mean, into February. I mean, that's a pretty long run for a 2000s movie. And if you see, it never had a huge weekend. It just made 2 million, 1 million, 3 million, 1 million. I remember I didn't end up watching this movie until it came out on video years later. I remember thinking it was okay. What did My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 do? So 90 million worldwide. I guess I understand why they would make. Didn't they do a TV show of that too? Barbie continues to be a monster at 1.4 billion. No need to say anything more about that. Blue Beetle, 114 million, has not broken even. Gran Turismo, 93 million, I would say has not broken even with its budget and marketing cost. Oppenheimer, 891 million, has definitely made a profit, no question. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles continues to disappoint internationally, 166 million. I don't think they've broke even on this movie either with budget and marketing. And then you have Bottoms, which has been pushed by Hollywood as the next big independent film. And while it's done okay on its $11 million budget, it's already dropping pretty steep domestically. I mean 32% is not bad, but this film isn't a hit. Orion, what the hell? I didn't even know Orion existed anymore. I thought they went away in the 90s. But this is already coming out on streaming here in the next month or so. So another high school coming of age indie film that didn't do well at the box office. The Meg 2 is at 386 million. That is blowing up in the eastern markets. Talk to Me, the A24 film, did very well, 46 million, 67 million. That's coming out soon. And nothing else here really worth note of speaking. I mean, Mission Impossible, it's kind of where it's at. There's no way of turning it around on that budget. And Sound of Freedom, we're just now getting international numbers, $210 million. So Angel Studios continues to succeed, and then we have Elemental with 484 million. So in general, story of the weekend here. The Nun 2 gives the movie theaters a slight boost before we're going to have, I think, a pretty steep, slow box office coming up here in September. In October, we should have momentum with the Taylor Swift Eras Tour release directly to AMC. And then, of course, The Exorcist Believer is coming out. But with the strikes continuing into the fall here, nobody's really sure what's happening in the industry. And I'm not sure. It doesn't look good. But hey, you can always make low budget horror movies like this, and they'll always dominate at the box office. And even if they don't do as well as expected, you never really lose money on movies like this. So, yeah, that's all you really need to do is come up with terrible franchise ideas, spin-off ideas like this, like, oh, it's an evil nun. 1956, France. A priest is murdered, and evil is spreading. The sequel to the worldwide smash hit follows Sister Irene as she once again comes face to face with Valak, the demon nun. I don't have anything to say about this. I don't want none of this.